It's so stupid, it's positively brilliant.
The Brilliant Idiots Podcast.
What was that like?
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Yeah, what was that like?
Overrated.
Really?
Yeah. What?
I just love it.
Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, like what was he cool? He gave you a little pushback. He gave you a little attitude.
No, it was cool.
Nah, he did.
I'm just
He's like,
fucking
that's
with
what
y'all.
you
I'm
d-
trolling. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I was like, yo, get off Obama's dick. Like, nah, it was good. I mean, it was cool. It was a cool
He
interview.
gave you one little sass. He gave you a little sass once. When,
Oh yeah, he was like, "That's why I got you." Yeah, I was just I hate how Democrats message shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yo, Obama gets a lot of flack for what he did not do, but it's like, tell people why you couldn't get it done.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, you know, Democrats can, like, I love what they did last week, but I don't think they followed up. Like, they passed, you know, decriminalizing weed in the House.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to get passed because the Senate isn't going to do it. So everybody's reposting about, oh, the House passed decriminalizing weed, and they're all happy and shit. But there's like, no, now, since you got everybody's attention, let everybody know, yo, but this shit ain't going to pass because of the Senate. That's why y'all need to go in fucking Georgia and vote for John Ossoff and fucking Ralph Warnock. So it's just like, I hate that they don't understand messaging. And even in Barack Obama's book, he says that he has a hard time breaking things down in a way that is digestible for everybody. Because he's a politician. And that's what I got from Barack. Barack is a great person. I just think that he's what he represents isn't actually what he is. So
What does that mean?
He represents a symbol of revolution. Because, you know, a black president in the United States of America in itself is revolutionary.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just based off the history of this country, everything that the systemic racism in this country, to see a black president is revolutionary, right? But he's a politician. He's a centrist, probably leans a little more conservative, establishment politician.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And by the way, you need those. He's a great politician.
Yeah.
You need that.
Yeah.
Just don't look for him like he said. He's not Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not Tamika Mallory, but that's why everybody plays a part. He said that during the interview. Everybody plays a role. You need a Tamika Mallory.
Right.
You need Barack Obama. You need all of that. You need people that are just constantly stirring it up everywhere. Let the radicals stir it up in the street so they can make enough noise that we got people in position that are listening to say, look, man, this is what we need to get done to calm that down. I always go back to the King in the Wilderness documentary when Lyndon B. Johnson, man, he called Martin Luther King Jr. And he goes, what the fuck is going on in Watts? They are tearing Watts the fuck up. He said, I gave y'all voting rights. I gave y'all civil rights. What's up? And Martin's like, yo, they want that money. You know what I'm saying? It's about economics now. But the fact that Lyndon called Martin, that's what you need. So when Tamika and all of them are in the street doing what they do, somebody got to call. The president got to be able to call somebody. You know what I mean? To be like, what do we need to do? So
Lyndon Johnson sound like a husband whose wife is angry. I got you the ring. I got you the necklace. What more can I do?
But is that not what you are when you're in that position, though?
Yeah.
You're married to the game.
To the game, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They work for us. We forget that.
I never forgot that shit. I never forgot that shit.
They work for us. So yes,
you know anything about working for me? I want you to work hard.
That's right. So you should be making demands. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, even with it was interesting when Obama did the whole defund the police thing, because same thing with narratives, right? People have a narrative about you. So the narrative is Barack Obama don't really give a fuck about black people. He don't really relate to being black, yada, yada, yada. So of course he doesn't understand our plight. If you listen to the whole 4 minutes, 50 seconds, he absolutely understands what the why of defunding the police is, the concept.
Yeah, he's just telling y'all about the branding.
From a politician perspective, this shit ain't gonna work, bro.
It's bad.
Who gives by the way, who cares about the slogan?
Well, everybody cares more about the slogan than they do the
actual concept. That's why the only person I've ever seen answer that question perfectly was Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
They asked Kamala Harris about defunding the police. She broke down why resources need to be taken away from police and allocated to the community, yada, yada, yada. And Meghan McCain was like, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But do you believe in defunding the police? And Kamala goes,
I just
define defund the police. What do you mean? Define what do you mean by defund the police?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck about the slogan? Focus on the why.
Well, the slogan is important because the slogan drives everything.
I don't believe that, man.
Nah, it's true.
I'm gonna tell you something. I think it's the era that we're in with the hashtags and social media. We think that. I think the why is more important, bro.
No. These are different things. Like the why is what's more important in terms of changing the world, but the slogan is what gets attention. It's like there's every what is it called? Don't judge a book by its cover, but it's like books have covers for a reason because it will draw your attention and hopefully grab you, and then you'll eventually digest what's in the book. And the problem is when you have a shitty cover for a book, nobody reads the book, and I want people to read that. So if defund the police is making someone go, I would never read that book, it's wrong. But if it's help the police do their job better, then all of a sudden it's like, well, tell me what's in here. This is fire.
But I think that's a catchier thing than. Right. Listen, here's the thing about defund the police.
Maybe it's not help the police, but I'm saying is if you're labeling it something that's going to turn people off from it, right, then they're not even going to consume what's inside of it.
Absolutely. And I think that with defund the police, man, it's interesting, right? Because people say things like, well, they don't have no problem defunding schools and that. But they don't say defund the schools either. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something else. Conservatives, Republicans, I was looking this up. Donald Trump defunded like 66 programs, right?
Yep.
Probably more now, but the article I was reading at the time, it was 66, right? When they defund, they actually abolish. So defund for them really means abolish. That's why they bucked back the way that they did. When they heard them say defund the police, they were like, we're not getting rid of police. Because whenever they cut budgets, that's what they call it cutting budgets. Whenever they cut budgets or they take money away from something, they're doing that because they know the program can't exist without that funding. So eventually the program goes away.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So the funding for them actually means abolish.
So
when they hear defund the police, they're like, we are not getting rid of the police. Y'all are motherfucking tripping. All the politicians should do is focus on the why. When guys like Barack Obama are on TV and somebody brings up defunding the police, don't even, listen, break down why the defunding the police should happen without saying defund the police. Talk about how we need to allocate resources from police officers to reinvest in our communities. Like just say that. Yes, we need to reinvest in our communities. You know what I mean? Keep it on the why.
Yeah.
When you keep it on the why, nobody can disagree with it. I haven't heard one person disagree with the why. And if they disagree with the why, they're probably fucking racist. Because there's no way you could tell somebody we should not reinvest into these communities. Yeah. We should not provide more opportunity. We should provide job training programs. You know what I'm saying? We should provide better mental health care services for people. We should provide better health care. We should provide better schools. Nobody is going to disagree with that.
Yeah. So why don't you, I mean, if you were smart branding wise, not you, but the people that are in control of these groups, they would change the branding from something that most people disagree with to something that most people agree with.
Well, no, I think it worked for them. And I'll tell you why it worked for them, because it keeps the conversation going.
It does, but it works in the same way that like tweeting something woke works, is that like there's a lot of people who will support your thing, right? So you're like tapping into that highway like we were talking before. But when it actually starts to get to the point where you have to execute that thing, if you change any part of it, anybody who disagrees, none of those people that got your support are going to be okay with it landing in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are so extreme that they only want that one thing. When in the reality is, if you start in the middle, the ascension is going to be way slower.
Yeah.
Right? Because less people are going to gravitate to it in the same way that they would if you just hop on the highway. But the long-term effects of this is you actually get the thing done. It's really no different than like Barack Obama policy and like Trump policy.
The Obamacare Affordable Care Act discussion.
Yeah, so it's like Trump, all the thing, not all, but a lot of things that he did through executive orders, right? And you don't need any politics to do that. You just sign it. The problem with executive orders is the next president comes in and he writes an executive order that your executive order
Barack wrote more executive orders than Trump, though.
But my point is that doesn't matter. Like Barack, when he put in Obamacare, he implanted that in our political system. It is so interwoven that Trump still couldn't take down the whole thing, right? Because he actually used politics to get it done. In our system, it is very difficult to get things done. But when they're done, they're locked and it's hard to get them unlocked.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the movement. It's like if you start the movement in a place and you really tie and interweave all these different sides and political factions into the support of it, it is going to be hard to tear that apart. But if you just get a little blip over here that's like defund the police, I think Minnesota did it. And then all of a sudden Minnesota is having all this like stuff where they're having to bring out outside police forces to help them with crime that they're experiencing. I'm just saying, like, if you overcorrect, if you have that immediate knee-jerk reaction, you have that overcorrection, you're always going to come back.
Yeah, I just like it because it gets the conversation started, but I just think that the people who actually can change the system have to know how to have the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And if the activists on the ground are saying defund the police, which is causing people on mainstream TV shows to ask these mainstream politicians about it, be like Senator Harris. Know how to answer the fucking question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talk about how resources do need to be reinvested into Black and brown communities. You know what I mean? Don't get into a back and forth about the fucking slogan. Because you know what it sounds like? When you say things like, I don't agree with defund the police, you're talking about the slogan. People think you're talking about the actual why.
Right.
Oh, you don't agree with reinvesting in the Black and brown communities? Like, that's a pointless fucking conversation.
Yeah. Even call out the slogan. Like, you know what? The slogan is incredibly misleading. So if I say here, I agree with defunding the police, all the people who think they know what that means are going to be like, how the fuck could you want to defund the police? This is what it means, and I agree with that. I just hate the name because it's so polarizing, and I want this to be something everybody supports. Please support this.